Friends, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. It is the 10th of October, and the market is running here. Let's see what's going to happen. I want to talk about SoFi, talk about Palantir. Yesterday, and we'll see what happens today, but yesterday was a very good day for SoFi, especially. It wasn't huge numbers, but nonetheless, it did very well here. And so did Palantir. So it just leads more to the conversation that I have been shouting from, my mouth here, my big old mouth, that these stocks are continuing to run. It's such a weird place for me, and talk about SoFi here. It's such a weird place because I think there's been this core army of SoFi fanatics, believers, and we've been here. Maybe you've been here since the $4 range, the $5 range, the $10 range, even the $20 range, which seems like forever ago. And finally, SoFi is getting into this $30 position, maybe $40 here within the next, 4 weeks, depending on how aggressive we get with these quarterlies, the rate cut, all the quarterlies coming out with a lot of our, stocks here. So SoFi starting to finally get some positive big numbers, feedback, and two, I'm seeing this very transitional moment where it's not just this, it's not just us anymore. It's not just this like core group of SoFi fanatics. It's turning into very much everyone's talking about SoFi. And today, like I kept coming across people talking about SoFi like on TikTok or something. And people were coming out with wild numbers with SoFi, which is fine. Like, I don't mind a wild number, when it comes to stock share price, what people are saying. I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, I'm hopeful for those kind of numbers. And I am very aggressive on what I think SoFi is going to do. I do think that SoFi is going to have a similar year to what Robinhood had this year for next year. I really do believe we could be looking at that kind of Roman road with what's about to happen here. So let's talk about that a little bit. I think this is a very key moment in time where things could become very aggressive here in the next 2 weeks with SoFi. So obviously this video will apply into everything that's happened this week, and especially what's going to push in the next week. This week coming here, go ahead and talking about next week and why the market kind of sold off towards the end of this week. What we've seen here is some like Pepsi, some things have been reporting quarterlies and they have not been up to what they need to be, obviously, and we kind of knew that was going to happen. It's not like a total shock, even though the media goes like, oh my god, kind of knew that's what was going to happen here. The real kicker of what is going to keep the whole market sensation and aroma and movement here of what we're in right now is, what are these tech stocks going to report on these quarterlies? What are we about to see here? This is why next week is going to be a very, who knows, it could be a very aggressive, and probably will be a very aggressive week in the market of a lot of volatility. But either way, I think SoFi is, I look at the market like the ocean, okay? And there are, let's just say SoFi is a ship. It is about to go through, a very treacherous, storm here, but I still think it will stay on course and go where it needs to go here to luscious fields, because SoFi has these key things right now where rate cuts, more than likely we're going to get that rate cut at the end of October here. Quarterlies, regardless, the quarterlies coming out here, and that quarterly more than likely will be top notch. This movement we just saw with SoFi here today was actually really positive. And, obviously we've hit this notch. We've hit this consolidation from what it looks like right now, where this 26, 27, obviously we're at 27, we're at 28 right now, some change. And that's where we were hitting the high today. It broke, yesterday it broke into a 28.65 range. Then sold back down, but still held a top ground. So essentially what I'm saying here, that, people may not even realize this, but we've hit this new peak once again. We're right in this middle plane right now of where we were just weeks ago, right in this $27, $28 range. So this more than likely is kind of the new bottom, if you will, with SoFi. And probably what we're going to see here in the next weeks that are coming, we are going to be in a place where SoFi is digging up new ground, where I think probably undoubtedly we're going to be seeing, 30s. We're going to be seeing, you're going to look at SoFi here soon in your portfolio and you're going to see the 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. And this will become more aggressive getting into, the end of October. Once we get close to these quarterlies, and the thing is with these quarterlies, SoFi is growing so aggressively right now. It's turning into like this little conversation of maybe it's something like a smaller version of Palantir, where it's quarterlies are getting bigger and bigger each time here, essentially what we're seeing. And they're getting like so many customers, like even the last two quarterlies, people are like, how are they getting this many customers at such a high rate right now? And this is really why, if SoFi can end out Q4 here to round out the year here at a very, crazy, progression of growth here, pushing, maybe by the beginning of January 2026, we're somewhere into, I don't know, maybe a $45 range. I think even 50, I think anywhere from $40 to $50 by January is very possible. I just do, because what I am depending on right now is evidence before us. This third quarterly that will be coming out regardless, that more than likely will be very positive, very aggressive. The second rate cut, okay, the November, I don't really know what's going to happen in November. We may see some consolidation in the market and then one last push going into the beginning of December if we get that third rate cut. And then January, we're going to be seeing quarterlies again for a lot of our stocks. So, SoFi will be in this realm again of where, is by Q4, will SoFi be releasing $1 billion quarterlies? I think that's very possible, very possible. This next quarterly, more than likely, SoFi has probably stepped into a $900 million range quarterly, more than likely. It sounds, you can look at this one or two ways, where you look at SoFi right now and you go like, that's not that much money compared to other banks. Yeah, compared to other banks that have been around for a long time. This isn't a Wells Fargo or Bank of America or JP Morgan. This isn't BlackRock. This isn't that conversation. Those have been around for generations. SoFi is, they're like, they just got here. This is very much like a toddler, company right now. They're just like walking around like, making a mess and, making a lot of noise. And they're making a lot of noise because they are, coming out here with aggressive numbers, with quarterlies, with, people starting accounts with them. And this is stuff that's going to compound into the future. So, I think anything under $50 right now with SoFi is going to leave you massive profit range here, getting into, say, like this time next year. That's what's very interesting about it right now, is because there's probably a lot of wiggle room in and out of this too, with, these, obviously people doing swing trades in and out of it. And to, to talk about all this stuff that we know is happening in the market, then we've got people like Tom Lee, Dan Ives, other big, people in the market that are saying that they believe the market is still calling for a bull case. That, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a huge argument in the investing world right now where, people are going, this is an AI bubble, this is going to pop, the market's way too high, which I am totally in agreement with. I mean, there's no way you can, there is an elephant in the room, obviously a big purple elephant. I said this, I think yesterday, either on this channel or the other channel, where I was like, it's obvious anything attached that has the word AI attached to it is doing very well. Even stocks that, are not even passing quarterlies, are in debt. They're just expectation. What if, maybe, deal here, what can happen? There's a lot of movement in stocks right now. You're in a bull market. This is a bull run with AI. And we don't know when it's going to stop. It may, I don't know, this may run another year. Who knows? But, obviously somewhere there will be consolidation with a lot of these AI stocks that, they will only run so far without, the ones that aren't hitting quarterlies, that aren't doing good with revenue, that have debt. There will be a brick wall. There will be a moment where investors go, I'm done. they will bleed them dry. But SoFi is not in that conversation when it comes to, a company not doing good. SoFi is growing. Like, if you were to, honestly, if I was a teacher and I was giving a class on stocks and somebody, asked, like, well, what is a great example of a company that you should, look at and learn about when it comes to, investing? SoFi is very much one of those perfect examples right now where you look at quarterlies, you look at the growth pattern with them, with customers, with them kind of really pushing into advertisement, how they're growing so fast. I mean, they really are a perfect example of how to invest in the market. I mean, and obviously, SoFi hasn't been aggressive, I think, enough. The stock has not been as aggressive as it should be. But two, I said this months ago, I think I said this at the beginning of the year, where, the thing that is separation with SoFi, there's obviously a lot of tech with it, behind it. Obviously, it's a banking stock fundamentally. But at the end of it too is that AI stocks have been all the rage this year. They were last year, even more this year. And SoFi's kind of been in the shadow of that. People haven't paid attention to it. The same things I'm saying now, I was saying back in April when SoFi was, $10-15, even sold down to $8 back in April. I was still yapping about the same thing I'm doing now. So it's very much showing this aggressive pattern, looking for new ground. I think it's going to have a year what we saw with Robinhood this year. I think that is more than likely what the kind of road that SoFi is looking for right now, and it's going to capture. And then look at Palantir. I'm just waiting. It's any day this thing is going to hit 190s. It's any day. If you haven't noticed, I'm a bit obsessed with both these stocks, but Palantir obviously is something that, if you've been here since, the $8, $7 range, the $20 range, the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, these are very special moments for a lot of us. Even if you got in at like 120, 130, I mean, you're killing it, dude. Even 160, either way, I think everyone's in profit zone at this point. I think everyone's in profit. So Palantir obviously is holding now. It's saying, hey, I'm here. 170s are probably getting further and further away. As crazy as that may sound, 150s are probably definitely gone. 160s, we could see them on a bad day, but more than likely we're getting further and further away from those numbers, which is insanity. It's crazy what we've seen out of the stock. So, and what's crazy right now, if you don't know, like, this is what's crazy right now, is that this zone that we're in right now, this 185 getting close to 190 here, which we've essentially been at, these were the numbers back in August when Q2 came out. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's crazy. It'll never hit this again. This is crazy. Well, look at where we're at. Now we're just sitting. Palantir's just doing, it's the same thing. It's repeating the same process over and over again. I feel like a crazy person. Like, I feel like that person on the side of the street, like, the end has got. This is what we've been watching over and over again. The progression of every quarterly, before, after. It's the same thing. Now we're back up in this 180 zone. Palantir is acting like it's no big deal, and it's pushing into a 190. It's probably going to push into 190 here very soon. And two, the quarterlies will be coming out here soon. And the thing is about these next quarterlies, it's already so ridiculous where these firms are coming out, and they've been, this isn't anything new. They, like, the projections right now on Palantir are like anywhere from, like, let me look it up, 215. I saw one recently of like 225, calmly saying that, like, just by January, start of next year, in that these next quarterlies should be over $1 billion, which obviously, if you've been following what's been going on with Palantir, you're going, yeah, those are easy numbers, because Palantir, right before and especially after multiple times here, Palantir has locked up more deals, more partnerships, things that are putting more money into, their accounts. So I don't know what this quarterly is going to be. It is going to be something extremely wild. And I think you're literally watching, just this Terminator company be built out. I think I said this last time I talked about Palantir, but I am trying to fully understand what we are looking at right now with this company in the next 5 to 10 years. Especially at the beginning of this year, there was a lot of conversation still of like, they're gonna hit a wall. They're gonna run out of deals. They're gonna run out of money. This is not going to continue. There's no way it can continue. I don't know why. It's like people don't want positive things in the market, and I don't know why. And a lot of that too is people lose out, they don't believe in things, and people that have been hurt in the market, it's hard for them, and I'm speaking from the heart here, people that have been hurt in the market, maybe had some bad deals, something like that, it's hard to believe in things again. But Palantir, the proof has been in the pudding, just like SoFi. When a company is producing amazing quarterly after amazing quarterly, but two, with this special, unique situation of Palantir, it's not only coming out with quarterlies. When it comes out with a quarterly, it's like the same thing. It comes out with a quarterly with deals. Like the week of and the week after, they're like, by the way, we just locked down another deal. By the way, we got this partnership. By the way, we just did this. I think, what was it, Q1, Q4, they were entered into the S&P 500 on top of more deals. Obviously, this year has been a complete lockdown inside this administration. Huge deals, more, defense deals, pushing into European market. The newest deal was Boeing, and plus just things I can't remember. There were more deals before and after. It's been wild. It's just been nonstop. So, yeah, this next quarterly is going to be. It's going to be mind blowing. It's just going to be mind blowing. So, I look at Palantir right now and I go like, I don't look at this and go like, man, I wonder if they're going to hit 200. I just don't know. This, of course, look at what the stock is telling you what it's doing. Like it doesn't get much simpler than, look at that. Look at this candlestick chart. Look at those last 4 bricks right there. One little green one, big green one, another little bigger green one, and then the last one there. Those are 4 pillars indicating it's on. It is on. This thing is moving hard here. And obviously that sell-off right there was just some faulty news cycle that came out last week. And like that was such just a whatever. But yeah, there's not much to say about Palantir, friends, that, about it other than it is an unbelievable situation. It does not get much better than this right now. This company is, I don't know. There could be an argument that they could pass Oracle in stock price. I saw somebody talking about that, and they're like, Palantir is having, I've been saying that too, but, I saw somebody saying that, Palantir is not going to make it past like 230 or something like that. I was like, I don't know. If they get much more aggressive with deals and, the expectation grows and the FOMO and all this, and they keep locking down bigger and more deals, yeah, they could have an even bigger run here in 2026. That's what's very crazy. It's really crazy how much, how much more can this stock do here at such a short rate? And that's why I try to really look at what is the future of Palantir. I think it's something that we are not even really aware of what it's going to be. I'm joking that it might be the next Skynet, but, maybe it is here. Maybe this is turning into something we just can't even fathom. Friends, be excited. I'm excited. These are easy stocks right now. These are easy stocks. You don't have to be, you don't have to have spent seasons in the market to see what is going on over here. SoFi, they have found their business. Palantir, they have found their business. These are the golden gooses of the market right now, 100%. SoFi still very much a very affordable blue collar stock for everyone to afford. It may not be that this time next year. It may not be that. So Palantir, unbelievable run, and it's still going. I wish all of you the best of luck. Have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.